And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I'm so excited to host live from Hawaii, Liao Butler, here to give us the inside scoop on her brand new book, Someone Else's Life. Lynn, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Thank you so much for having me. And it's so great that I'm actually doing this from Kauai, where the book is set. So it is a thriller. It didn't originally turn out to be a thriller. I'll tell you about that later. But it's about a woman who has lost everything. Like she's lost her business, her job, her dog, her mother. And and then her and her husband restrained, and then something almost happens to their son. So they decide to move to Kauai to start over. But then strange things start happening in Kauai. Like she feels like she's being watched. She keeps finding things she's lost. Like she's not sure if she's losing her mind. And then during a storm, a very bad storm, she's home alone. Somebody appears at her door and she lets her in. And she thinks it's a stranger, but it turns out that she's not. And since it's a thriller, some bad things are going to happen. And that's what it's about. Mostly takes place that one night in that storm.
Ooh, well, I can't wait to get into every single delicious detail. But first, I just want to welcome everyone who's watching with us tonight. It is Mystery Monday, and because Mondays can be killer, we're going to make them a little less painful for you. So if you're new here, here's how it works. Every Monday for #Mystery Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors, and you get to ask them anything. So ask Lynn about her debut work, this gorgeous cover with these birds of paradise flowers. Ask her what the heck, it was not even supposed to be a thriller. I know I got a lot of questions. Just get them going in the comments. This is your time to talk to Lynn, and I will get those right over to you. So Lynn, I'm going to kick off. What the heck do you mean this wasn't going to be a thriller?
So this is my third book. I wrote 2 books before this, and they both came out during the pandemic. They're with Berkeley, which is an imprint of Penguin Random House, and they were marketed as, they called it upmarket women's fiction, book club fiction. So they're like family dramas, kind of like in the vein of Amy Tan, that kind of stuff. And this was supposed to be my option for my third book. I wrote this during the pandemic, and I had I guess he was 7 at the time, 7-year-old, and I had to pandemic homeschool. So it was horrible, and he did not like it. I did not like it. I started to get stabby. So I started killing people off in the book, and then there was a stalker, and then an accidental murder, an intentional murder. And my agent was like, Lynn, I can't give this to your editor. This is not upmarket, feel good family drama. This is a thriller. I was like, oh, I accidentally wrote a thriller. And so she took it out on sub and sold a book. Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
So I had no idea how to write thrillers. So.
Wow. So you accidentally wrote a thriller feeling kind of stabby, which we all can relate to. Now, did you then have to go back and figure out how to write a thriller? Were there enough twists and turns? Were there enough clues? What was that process like?
So I had written the entire book as upmarket women's fiction, and then I hated it because I was trying to force the main character to have an emotional journey. And then when I realized it was a thriller, I was like, oh, I could just focus on the thriller aspect. So my agent actually sold it on, I think, like 5 chapters and a synopsis. And they gave me, I think, 6 weeks to write the whole book. So I had 6 weeks to completely learn how to write a thriller. And I started binge reading like Jennifer Hillier, Sally Hepworth, like, Luann Rice. I mean, I was just like binge reading thrillers, Andy Bartz, trying to figure out how to write a thriller. And even still then, when I turned it in, and you and I have the same editor, when I gave it to Jessica, I think she was a little horrified. She was like, this is not a thriller. But I was able to turn around and make it. I had a wonderful developmental editor, Andrea Hurst, and we worked together. And she was like, at the end, she was like, okay, you have just proven yourself as a writer. So.
Yay. Well, first of all, it's so exciting because all of those people you named have been on the show. So Andy Bartz, Sally Hepworth, everybody has been here. So it's so great that they inspired you, and here you are now. Julie, welcome to the conversation. She's echoing exactly what I was thinking, which is 6 weeks.
Exactly.
Yes.
And people think that since I had the whole thing written, it was easy, but it was actually worse because it was written in a completely different genre. And I had to throw out all those emotional journey stuff and add in the pacing and the tight timeline. Yeah, it was a very intense 6 weeks, but I actually like deadlines. I will not write if you tell me, oh, just turn it in whenever. I won't write anything. if you tell me I have 6 weeks or 2 weeks, I will sit down and write you an entire book. So it was actually good for me.
Well, so you'll just procrastinate doing anything.
Exactly. Yes. Yep.
So what, when you are buckled down and under deadline, what does that look like? Your butt is glued to the chair. You're not moving. You're not talking. You're not eating. You're not doing yoga.
I'm doing all that. I teach yoga. I think you do too, right? I think we're both
Yep.
yoga instructors. So I do all that. But so I actually was on deadline while we were in, got to Kauai. So it's been like a week and a half, and I needed to hand this developmental edits back by, I think, by today. So I've been on deadline this whole week, but I still went to happy hour. I just took my laptop with me. I can write anywhere. So my son and husband are at happy hour and I'm typing away. We're at dinner and I'm typing away. We're at the beach and I'm typing away. So I'll just take my laptop with me wherever we go. And I still, I just taught a class virtually right before this. So that's why I'm a little wet from my hair in the shower. So yeah, I just take the laptop with me everywhere.
Oh my gosh. Well, clearly whatever you're doing is working, because let's take a peep at some of this amazing praise. I'm going to pull it up on the screen so we can all look at it together. Publishers Weekly raving, well-developed characters and plenty of local color add to the slowly simmering plot, which builds to a strong and unexpected climax. Alfred Hitchcock fans will be satisfied. First of all, high praise there from King, comparing your work to King Hitchcock.
I know, right? I was like...
And now let's delve into it. So first off, do you think that your first two books in writing women's fiction, a la in the style of Amy Tan, did that help you to be able to serve up well-developed characters on a thriller platform?
I guess so, because that is a lot of what I do is in the first two books had to build up these characters a lot. So I think when I turned this thriller in, that part was okay, but it was the timing and the pacing of the thriller that I wasn't getting, because I don't know how to write a thriller. I'd never written one. I just read them. So yeah, that was the part that was hard to figure out for me.
So, okay, good to know the inside scoop here. Now, let's talk about the next part in terms of the simmering plot, which builds to a strong and unexpected climax. So was the climax unexpected for you? What are you, a plotter? Are you a pantser? Did you always know how it was going to end? Did it come as a shock to you? Give us the scoop on that.
So I'm a plotter I do not sit down to write a book until I have a outline. I mean, a chapter by chapter outline and a timeline that I make, so I know exactly when happened, when a character was born, how old their son was, So I don't write anything until that's done. But I always knew how I wanted to end. But Jessica, our editor, wanted me. She's like, well, I think that's kind of dangling a little. We need to have a more definitive ending for the readers. So I did end up changing that. But the slow simmering burn, I always knew that's what I wanted to do, because it was like, it really just takes place, the majority, like 75% of the book, over one night between two characters. And I know you're not supposed to read negative reviews, but I do sometimes, not on purpose. So just, you go to check your rating and then a 1-star review pops up. And I know people say they didn't like that, but the people who actually read the whole book said it worked for them because it was building up that slow burn. So
what do you think? So I love a slow burn. I know some people like it sort of twist, right, twist. And I actually wonder if the industry isn't shifting a little more toward such a focus on the, on the twist, that we're losing some other things alongside. Right. So I love me a slow simmer. What do you think the secret is? 3 books in, 1 thriller, 2 women's fiction. What do you think the secret is to building that slow simmer effectively?
I have no idea. After just finishing writing my 4th thriller, I handed it to my editor and I'm like, oh my God, this sucks. I don't know how to write a thriller. She's going to be like, tear this apart. This is not good. So I really think it's an instinctive thing. Like people, there are people who are analytical. They're like, okay, by a quarter in, you should have this plot or this thing. And for me, it's more of an instinct. Like some books just happen, to everything happens and you're just like, oh my God. Like I just read a book that was like that. And for me, for this book, I wanted it to be a slow burn. I wanted her to like think that she was losing her mind, that, she's doubting herself, and that she like, am I going, am I going crazy? Am I delirious? Is it me, or is somebody doing this to me? And I have this stranger show up, and it's actually based on something that happened to me in real life, this entire story. So I don't know if you want to hear it, but I could tell you about it.
We want to hear it.
So when my husband and I moved to our house on the lake in New York, so if you read this, that sounds familiar, right? When we moved in,
remember, no spoilers though.
Right, we had taken the house from a couple who had already gotten their mortgage turned down twice and was about to ask for a third extension. So my agent was like, if you want it, come in at your highest offer. So we did, and we got the house. And then like a few weeks after moving in, I kept seeing this white car drive by and then stop in front of our car and in front of our house. And they would just park there. And I'd be like looking, and I could see a shadowy figure, but they never could see who. And I kept seeing, I said to my husband, I'm like, I think somebody's stalking us. I bet you it's the people we took the house from, and they're coming back to kill us. And my husband's like, no, you're being paranoid. And then he started seeing it. He goes, oh my God, Lynn, that white car's back again. And for like months, this car would just stop like every few days and park either in front of our house a little further down. So I thought in my head, I had built up this whole thing that she's come back to, stalk us. She's going to kill us and then try to take our house because she's angry that we took her perfect dream house, that I'm living the life that she should have lived. And, someone else's life is always better from afar. So that's where the story came from.
Oh my God. So did the car, how long did the white car?
It was there for months, I think for like 3-4 months. And then one day it just disappeared. But I already in my head had a vision, like, imagine if this is why she came back and, why she wanted to.
That is terrifying. And I had no idea this was based on this thing that actually happened to you. Leslie, yes. Welcome to the conversation. She's saying hello from Canada. Leslie here. Leslie, so great to see your name pop up. And she adds, I think Agatha Christie gives a good slow burn. I like the traditional style. She'd like to know, who are your favorite mystery author influences? Great question, Leslie.
So like I said, Jennifer Hillier is one of my top ones. Like I think the first book I read of hers was Her Little Secret or something, or the Little Secrets it's called. And it was just so well done because it had character, it had backstory, it had stuff, but it was still such it wasn't like a shocking, like, oh my God, the whole way through, but there was so much that kept you engaged. And I like that about it. And yes, you're right about Agatha Christie. And Alfred Hitchcock's mind just blows my mind, the way he's able to do it. So being compared to him, I was just joking. I tweeted, just call me Al, just call me the Agent Al. And people actually tweeted back, hi, Al. So they're at the top of my list. And then my biggest influence is Liane Moriarty, even though she's she is suspense, crossover women's fiction, kind of like what I write. Her books are what got me through a really hard time. And her books are the reason why I became an author. I never thought I would write a book, but I've always been a huge reader. Like, I read 5 to 7 books a week. And I never thought I would write. I've never taken a writing class, but I had a really bad year, just like Annie did. And Liane's books got me through. So when I decided to write, I just studied Liane's books. I basically just tore them apart. It's like, how does she plot this? How does she do it? And that's how I learned how to write.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I love knowing that. I am such a huge fan of Liane Moriarty and so many other amazing Australian authors like Jane Harper, who's just on, and their ability to interweave character and settings and suspense so effectively.
Exactly.
It's really, it's so great. And Kirkus is not the only one praising this book. Let's get back to some of the other praise. Eliza Jane Brazier, who was on the show when her last book, Good Rich People, came out last year, raves. Let me pull this up so we can all look at it together. Chilling from page 1. Someone else's life is an unputdownable descent into 2 women's parallel lives with genuine jaw-dropping twists and enough seeds of doubt to populate a very wicked garden. Butler's debut thriller is a breath of fresh Kauai air. Amazing praise there from Eliza Jane Brazier. Let's talk about this. So when you turned your first thriller, which was never supposed to be a thriller, into your editor and publisher, was there enough twists? Had you studied the art of the twist from Leanne Moriarty, or were they like, could you please insert 25 more twists?
No, the twists were all there. So they're
Wow,
like, you got
okay.
the twist. But the problem was the way I structured it. I had originally written it from another point of view, and that point of view was interspersed in. And they were like, nope, get rid of it. And that was like a third of the book. So I had to like scrap it and then like turn. Yeah. So it was like, so the twists were there. It was just the way I got us to the twist that wasn't working for them. They said it was what I was doing was unnecessary. So I had to throw that out. And that was like I had to rewrite a third of the book in 2.5 weeks after I did it in 6. And it was right before Christmas last year.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it was a little like, and that's why my developmental editor was like, I don't know if you're going to be able to do this. You might have to ask for an extension, but then we did it. We turned it in 2.5 weeks. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was more structure than twist, because my mind is my imagination is really, really like it goes to some really weird places. So that was never the problem. The problem was how to structure it so that you're building up to the twist and not just randomly throwing it all in. So.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Diane, welcome to the conversation, joining us from YouTube. She says,
Hi.
Good evening, Lynn. Good evening, Sarah. Good evening, Diane. So lovely to see you pop up as always. Thanks for tuning in. And she's sending us so much love. All the love back to you. Thank you so much. Lynn, let's talk about some of this other author praise. So Amanda Jayatissa, who was on when her debut thriller My Sweet Girl came out, raves Lynn Liao Butler has mastered the art of full body tense suspense in this fresh take on the stranger in the house concept, which will have you racing to the end, even as your blood pressure increases and you have to remind yourself to breathe, which as a yoga teacher, Lynn, you should be very good at both. You know, you sort of got it, the balance here, right? Because you know how to terrorize us as a thriller writer and then how to teach us how to breathe as a yoga teacher is really the perfect combo. So Amanda knows a thing or two about full body.
Oh yeah, she's good. Yeah.
She's amazing. Yeah. So she, in fact, won the Thriller of the Year award for that book. Yes. Now, tell us, what do you, and here she's praising your ability to build suspense. So what do you, which is so key, because if you're not building that suspense, the readers will just, lose interest. So what do you think the secret is to doing that really well, skillfully?
I mean, like I said, it's a lot of it is timing and the way you pace it. You want to give enough clues so that people understand what's going on and what the character's motivation is. But you don't want to give so much all at once that it becomes this like all this background information and then the pacing just kind of dies. And that's still something that I'm working on is, knowing how to pace it correctly so that you get to the twist or you get to the hint and the clue without bogging yourself down, but giving it enough backstory so they understand why is the character doing this? Why is she making these bad decisions? And one thing I have to add is one thing that I've read a lot of people say was like, I just wanted to yell at Annie and be like, why are you letting this stranger into your house? I would never do that. Well, here in Kauai, I've asked a lot of people who live here, if there was a really bad storm and a stranger knocks on your door who's, innocent looking, kind of like me, nothing special, and there she's soaking wet and she's like, can I please come in? Every single person has said, yes, I would let her in. Because Kauai is different. It's not the city. It's not even like a suburb of a city where you wouldn't let strangers in. Everybody, it's the aloha spirit. So that's one thing I wanted to clear up, that yes, in Kauai, I would. Maybe not in New York City, I wouldn't do that. But in Kauai, I would definitely let a stranger in.
Ooh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't thought about the aloha spirit. So thank you for clearing that up. And you're right. Like if somebody knocked on the door over here on the mainland and was like, can I come in? I'd be like, ooh, you could be a serial killer.
Exactly. Like I don't think I would. And even in my, ups in the suburbs of New York City, but here, if it was a rainy day and I see this, woman soaking to wet, because she's like, my car broke down. Can I please just ride out the storm with you? I'd be like, sure, come in. I'll break out the wine bottle. And that's exactly what Annie did.
And then she pulls a knife out of her purse.
Right.
Annalie, welcome to the conversation. She says, yes, location matters. Exactly. And Publishers Weekly, was it Publishers or Kirkus, who praised your ability to bring the importance of location and that local I'm just scrolling back to try to find which one it was, to
Local
bring
color or something.
the local color into, because it really does matter. And I love how they, incorporated even that into your cover with birds of paradise, like these beautiful
Exactly.
Hawaiian flowers.
Right. And because I don't live in Hawaii year round, I tried to write it from a tourist point of view. I didn't want to, try to pretend I knew how to be, about Hawaiian cultures and stuff. So I really wanted to make sure I wrote it from a woman who lived in New York and moved to Kauai. So she's seeing it from a tourist point of view.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Did you ever consider setting it anywhere else?
It was originally going to take place on the lake where I lived. But,
Mhm.
during the pandemic, I was like, I just want to be in Kauai. So I'm going to bring the stalker to Hawaii with her. and, said, and then I had to okay, so how did she end up in Kauai? I'm like, stalker. She follows her. So it was originally supposed to take place in New York, but then I was like, it would be such a great juxtaposition of the beauty and paradise of Hawaii, but suddenly there's this big storm, and then she's dealing with her own little storm inside.
Ooh, the juxtaposition of the inner and the outer landscapes. I love that. Samantha Bailey, who is a
Hi,
best-selling
Sam.
author, says gripping, twisty, and clever. Someone else's life and unfolds in a tantalizing slow burn, building to heart-thumping tense, break that crescendo with astonishing twists and a pulse-pounding plot. This is a thriller that will leave you gasping for breath. Congratulations on that rave review. Y'all, I want to remind you, this book is out now. It's hot off the presses, and you can grab your copy tonight from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore, Murder by the Book. So I'm going to pop that link in the comments. So whether you're watching from Facebook or YouTube, here is the link that you can click and order and get your copy of Someone Else's Life Tonight. Well, they'll ship it to you tomorrow because over here on the mainland it's already night. But here we go. So grab it, click it, order. Grab that link, click and order, so that you too can immerse yourself in the world of the storm and Annie's story. Okay, perfect. Now, Lynn, I have to know, having written one thriller and two women's fiction, what are you going to write next? Are you going to stay over here in thriller land? Are you going back to women's fiction? What are you, a convert? Are you going back to what's comfortable? Tell us what you're thinking.
Well, so after I wrote that first thriller, I gave an option for my second, but then nothing happened yet because the first one had come out. So I actually wrote a rom-com. I swatched genres again because I needed a happily ever after all that stalking and accidental murder. So I wrote a rom-com. My agent tried to sell it, but my author brand is getting all over the place now. I'm upmarket thrillers and then rom-com. So we weren't able to sell it. It had a lot of interest. So at the end of last year, we decided I was going to self-publish it under Liao, just my maiden name. So it's coming out June 6th, 2023. And the kicker, and I'm going to share a secret with you that nobody knows yet, is that my agent was like, because she really believed in the book. She's like, do you want me to try to sell the audio, foreign, and sub rights? I'm like, sure. And she's like, don't expect too much. It's a self-published book. Most people don't, whatever. So I was like, whatever. She sends it out on sub for the audiobook. And 2 days later, we get an offer. Then we get a second offer. And the next day we get a third offer. And then 2 more houses were interested and turned into this bidding war. And then it went to auction. And it apparently was a pretty good auction because people had to drop out because they got too high for their budget. And then eventually sold. So it's not public yet. Nobody knows except you guys, but I should be able to announce this soon. So now it's going to be an audiobook as well as the Kindle and paperback. So I have this book called Crazy Bao You coming out on June 6th, 2023. If you Google my name, it pops up now.
Oh my goodness.
So I have that coming out. And then I have another thriller coming out in February of 2024. And I wrote another women's fiction that's out on sub now. So yeah, I'm kind of like 3 genres.
Keep a foot in each world.
I think so. Because my agent says, I write a lot faster than traditional publishing works because, everything takes so long. So this way, I'm always working on something.
I love it. Diane would like to know, how do you decompress when you finish a book? That's such a great question.
So I have a very balanced lifestyle. I think I mentioned I'm a yoga and also a fitness instructor and personal trainer. I also own an Etsy shop where I sew, I make like purses and little bags and coin purses and wristlets. And so I teach. So when I'm like stressed out from writing, I go teach class. I either torture people in a fitness class, or I own them and bring them, some peace in a yoga class. And then I get a little, cleared my head, and then I can go back and write. And then at night, the sewing to me is like meditation because it's like mindless. I don't have to think. It's my decompression time. And I sew at night with my 3 dogs helping me. And it really balances out my life. So I never feel burnt out. I never feel like it's too much, because if it's too much, I just stop writing and I go do something else. And my dogs, having 3 dogs, it really keeps you like, from burning out. So.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It's all about balance.
Diane is saying, I love that. Diane, I love that too. Lynn, how do you have that much energy though? Are you just like super caffeinated?
I am a very type A. I need to be doing 5 things at the same time, or I feel like something's wrong. Like I'm the multitasker. Like I used to type and talk to someone and talk on the phone, and my mom would be like, stop, you're freaking me out. How can you type and talk to me at the same time?
Wow. Okay. Wait, so now I think we need to know, what's the name of your Etsy shop?
It's called Pinot by Lynn, like Pinot Grigio, because it's named after my first dog who tried to drink my Pinot Grigio. So I named her Pinot. So it's called Pinot by Lynn. So it's her in my shop. She passed away right before the pandemic started. And that's when I knew it was going to be it's like end of February, and I knew it was going to be a bad year, and it was.
Oh my gosh. Wow. You're doing so many interesting things. And I like how you look at that as fueling your creative energy and your groundedness, because by doing different things, plus with your rescue dogs, plus with your, your personal life, like you're getting a lot of different benefits and stimulation from all the different ways, different facets of your life, as a mother, as a wife, as, a professional, a fitness teacher.
Exactly.
Well, it's really cool. Very, very cool. Y'all, I want to remind you, the book is out now. So I'm going to post that link again in the comments. So here it is. Chris, welcome to the conversation, saying, just got here. Loving this interview. So interesting. Chris, thanks so much for joining us and the kind words. I see you're logging on for YouTube. We have 3 minutes left. So let us know. I think I can get at least 2 more questions in. Let us know if you have any questions at all. Diane is saying, this is so cool. I totally agree. Oh, she wants to know, do you think you should release it under a pen name? Okay, yeah. So you're keeping your rom-coms under Lynn Liao.
So I'm going to do the rom-com as just Lynn Liao. And then my agent and I have decided, because my upmarket fiction always has a thriller element in it, so it's close enough to a thriller. So my thriller and upmarket will stay Lynn Liao Butler.
Okay, so thriller and upmarket fiction, upmarket.
Lynn Liao Butler.
Okay. And are you doing that so that people, because obviously it's not like your pen name is
right. So here's the conversation we had. As a person of color and an author of color, my agent has said that it's hard enough for you to get your name out there, that if you start to dilute your brand, people are going to have a hard time finding you. So they still want to be able to find me because if you Google Lynn Liao Butler stuff pops up too, but it's different enough that it's on a separate platform, I guess you call it, that if the book bombs, she can still sell my other books. So in case the rom-com, and I already said to her, like, I don't think the only reason I did this book was as a palate cleanser. So I don't necessarily need to publish traditionally a rom-com. Like, I'd be happy to keep self-publishing myself. So that's why we decided to do it this way. We originally decided to do like LL Butler or Lynn something, but then we were like, you know what? It's going to be hard enough for people to find me. So here I am.
I love that. And I think the strategy makes sense. So just so everyone's clear, Lynn will continue to write thriller and upmarket women's fiction under her full name, Lynn Liao Butler, and rom-com under Lynn Liao.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for letting us know. What a pleasure to host you. You guys, I posted all of Lynn's amazing. Julie, last question coming in from Julie, coming in hot. Lynn, I was wondering this too, Julie. How do you find time to write? I mean, are you one of those super sleeper that only needs like 17 minutes of sleep a night? Like,
I need 8 hours. I need 8 hours of sleep or I'm grumpy. I literally take my laptop with me everywhere. So when I'm on my son's swim meet in Kauai, I have it on the beach with me. I have it at happy hour. Like I said, at dinner, it's always out. And whenever the inspiration strikes, I just write. So it's just part of my life.
That is a really great question, though, Julie, because I was wondering too, because I was like, my God, how did this woman has to be a super sleeper. So thank you for sharing that you do need your full 8 hours
Yes.
Of beauty sleep. I've never related to anything more.
Yes. Otherwise, I'm a grumpy pants, and you do not want to be near me.
Yes, samesies. Diane is laughing. I am laughing too, Diane, and she says she loves that. I totally love that, and I totally relate. What a perfect note to end on. Y'all, thank you for joining us. Lynn, thank you for joining us live from Hawaii to give us the inside scoop on someone else's life out now, y'all. And I just posted the link one more time so that you can grab your copy. Lynn, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Mystery and Thriller friends, for joining us.
Thank
Back
you.
at the top of the hour with VM Burns. So go get a drink, go get a snack, and I'll see you then.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lynn.